Hey, welcome to Gab and Jam, episode 280.
All right, and what are we talking about today?
All right, so today we're talking about Steal Like an Artist, 3 principles. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but there's a book called Steal Like an Artist that a lot of creatives kind of look to for advice on inspiration, methods, and all that kind of thing. I saw a video on YouTube and they shared like 10, and 3 of those really resonated with us. If you want the others, check out the blog post. I'll include some of those, some of the extra ones. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first principle.
Well, I think it's a bad artists like plagiarize.
Yes.
What good artists steal.
Okay, so thank you. So that ties into our first key principle from Steal Like an Artist was remember that you are the sum of your influences.
Yes, yeah.
So the combination you create by mixing them together helps to create your unique voice. That
Yeah.
you're not creating anything from scratch. There's no, I made an entirely new musical scale. You didn't create extra notes on the bass.
Yeah.
It is from putting the things together. You know, first you start by imitating. That's what children do.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of figure out what works for you and what doesn't, or you add a little bit maybe this other influence to that, and then of course that makes your creative.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean I think that kind of like what I was playing coming in is a combination of various bass parts that I've heard from a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's Stanley Clark or Marcus Miller or Victor Wooten, Larry Graham. It's all Louis Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is part of that soup. But
Bootsy.
yeah, I mean it all kind of makes you who you are.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the way that you spit it back out.
Yeah.
That
And it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit. That takes the
Yeah.
pressure off because you don't have to feel like you have to be the end all be all with everything you create, because that has that weight
right.
to it.
Well, you're never trying to be your influences.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing is that
Yeah.
that's the thing you're and to be honest with you, you're always gonna fail at that.
Mm.
You're always gonna fail at trying to be that person. I mean, it's kind of like the old thing about copies.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you made like what as they would say, a Xerox copy of something,
Mhm.
how that copy degrades.
Mhm.
That's the same way it used to be with analog. It's like, you make these copies, and each copy that you make, it degrades away from that original.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like if you are trying to copy,
Mm-hmm.
instead of, just drawn upon,
Mm-hmm.
being influenced by, you're always going to be a watered down version of that original.
Yeah.
Because everybody's always got the original.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like
Right.
when we hear remakes.
The covers.
and
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
what I was just thinking.
you're not looking to hear a cover that sounds exactly like.
Or even
Right.
sang better. Like
Right.
that
And
doesn't do it.
That's why a good wedding band isn't necessarily going to get a record deal.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a good wedding band is going to be a jukebox.
Yeah.
And so meaning that you're never going to hear the personality of the band coming through.
Yeah.
Because they're doing these exact replicas
Yeah.
of things that I've already recorded, and that's great for a wedding band,
Yeah.
but that's not great for original material.
Yeah, not for musical artists.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the first principle. The second principle of Steal Like an Artist that seemed important to us is because feel like we suffer from the shiny object syndrome sometimes, but let your distractions fuel your creative soul. So things like stepping away from your art you're creating to do things like nap or take a walk or go on a trip or...
Oh, I kind of took that a little bit differently.
Oh, what do you think?
So I kind of took that sometimes along in your process, you could feel like you need to practice more. You need to add more theory, or you need to add these other things to it. And I know that happens to me. It's like in the midst of working on, scales. And, all of a sudden you stumble across something that's an idea. Is that you have to be willing to go the way of the idea.
Oh, I like that.
And drop the practice.
Okay, I like that, because that's really what you're
explore,
trying to get
right, to explore the idea.
Yeah.
And so, because that idea, could, it a lot of times that's when you're, at least I feel that's when you are funneling the authentic you. Or learning songs.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the course of learning a song, you learn something in a way that's not quite correct, but it's different from, what you're actually trying to learn. And I think you have to be willing to go down that, rabbit hole to say, okay, wow, wait a minute, this is a different interpretation of this. So, I mean, I've done that before, like, I've heard Marcus Miller talk about developing certain things off the pentatonic scale. So I've kind of taken that scale and just start playing around with it, and it's led to other stuff. That's me. So so again, it's being willing to, just not go up and down the neck, and learning your neck and all the rest of this kind of stuff, and especially if you're a creative type, to explore when that creative energy hits, to go ahead and run with it.
Oh, but then they also, within that the distractions, they also mentioned and I know I'm the one that's probably more guilty of this, I like upcycling, and I like, doing all these other things. I like to, now I'm trying to do embroidery, and I'm trying to do fashion styling and all that kind of stuff for us, and all that kind of photos and videos and all of that, they say kind of fuels the creative soul. So all of that together.
Yeah.
So whether it's taking the lessons and twisting them and playing with that, or whether it's taking your other interest and folding it in, it all helps solve the problem, your creative problems that you're working on as your art.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And then the final thing, which we thought, which kind of actually goes with what your idea was, the final idea from Still Like an Artist that seemed really important to us is seek creative play. So let's see. So again, while you're in the middle of doing something completely, I guess I'm thinking about recipes and things like that. While you're in the middle of doing those types of things, if something hits you,
right,
and it seems like a creative, something that you could use in your creative pursuit, to make sure you take the time to go do that.
Yeah, I bought like the Kai MPC, whether it's the MPCX, and I've been in the midst of doing tutorials. But while in the midst of doing the tutorials, I start to stumble upon something. And so I haven't made it through a tutorial yet. I've almost had a year, but at the same token, there's been like more love planted from what's going to be the newest thing that we're coming with. It was purely done off the MPCX, and it's one of those type of things where I don't think if I didn't have that this song doesn't happen.
So the equipment, and then watching the tutorial.
Well, starting to watch the tutorial.
Right, starting
but
to
actually just deviating from it and realizing that, I still feel like a novice on the machine, on the software, and all the rest of this kind of stuff. And the reason why I'm a novice, I think it might be a good thing, is that every time I get on it, I get creative.
Okay, I like
and
that.
So I just start doing things kind of intuitively, and not necessarily the way I think they're structuring it to be done, but the fact that there's room, for me to operate that way is great. But that's, again, it's that, free-flowingness to give in to the creativity.
Yeah.
It's like when the creativity hits you, to go ahead and do things, so... like, taking a bass drum and actually manipulating it in a way where it becomes a bass line.
Oh, yeah.
That gets, kind of mixed in with, another bass line. And just kind of restructuring or rethinking the way that I would normally approach this particular creative process. It really helps. Or, I think like with Lovely Mystic, it was like I was working around with a sample, and they had this reverse thing on here. And so I reversed it and I started kind of messing around with it. I still don't know what the hell I was doing.
Love it.
And I didn't know how the hell I got there.
I don't know. That's one of my favorite parts of the song.
It just kind of gave me something that was like, oh.
And it's got its own personality. It sounds like it is saying something urgent.
Right. And it was just me hitting reverse and not even knowing that I hit it. So all I'm just trying to say is that sometimes, you know, you don't want to be so stringent that and I guess Quincy Jones would say this, that you don't allow God to walk into the room.
Okay.
And that was the whole thing, is that you always have to leave room to let God, and whether it's circumstance, whether it's happenstance, or mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, because mistakes again, in this era that we're in today, you know, where you can correct everything.
Yeah.
You know,
sometimes mistakes give you character.
They do. They give character. They lend certain things to songs that at one time we used to have to live with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now we don't have to live with them.
Yeah.
But they're kind of happy accidents.
Yeah.
And so you kind of got to leave.
You sound like Bob Ross.
So.
All right. So what do you guys think? Have you ever read Still Like an Artist? And if you did, what tip or what method or principle did you learn that maybe we didn't share? Leave it in the comments below.
Yeah.
And what else?
Sugarfit is always available. Sugarfit and everything else that we have. I know people go to Bandcamp, and I've seen them go all the way back to things like Dirty Diapers that we did a long time ago. Go all the way back to, Welcome to My World.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff that we've done. So it's all available on Bandcamp. So you can click through and get that. And including, the latest thing that we're going to be dropping pretty soon, Octanian Flow. And then, the Tony Webb kind of funk, bass-centric kind of stuff.
Yeah. Thrillsville.
Thrillsville. It's all going to be coming up coming up soon.
Yes. So wherever your preferred streaming, make sure you are following us, but Bandcamp is kind of the central hub where you can get it all.
Yeah, you're right. And if you feel like we're moving too slowly with this stuff, tell us. Say, hey, hurry up, get it out there. Do something.
But make sure you follow us so that you don't miss it. We don't want you to miss any of it.
And hit the like button, subscribe.
And share it with somebody.
Yeah, share it with somebody. So go ahead.
And if you think that they could use some of the things that you're learning or that you're enjoying, we would love for you to share it with others.
Yes.
All right. If you dig the vibe and you want to be a part of the tribe, be sure to
subscribe.
Wishing you love, peace, and
chicken grease.
Yay.
Hit the like button.